Now it's time for Inspirational Women, and my guest, Stephanie Gianarelli, acupuncturist and the founder and clinic director of Acupuncture Northwest. Stephanie's here to provide insights into a new program starting later this month for fertility coaching, and our conversation is timely as this is National Infertility Awareness Week. Stephanie Gianarelli, good morning. Thank you so greatly for being with us this morning.
Good morning to you as well, Kate.
So it's really wonderful that we get a chance to finally connect again. I can't believe that so much time has passed, but the timing couldn't really be more perfect, I think, because here starts the week of National Infertility Awareness, and we want to talk about fertility and everything that goes along with it, because this is a very focused part of the business that you do with Acupuncture Northwest.
It is. It's kind of the heart and soul of our practice, is treating women and couples and the LGBTQ community as well for fertility. It's wonderful and rewarding and anxiety provoking all at one time.
The thing that is so wonderful, because I just didn't really give it a lot of thought before you and I had started conversing about this some years ago, that this is a very important, highly emotional, very stressful kind of time, and there's been just a lack of information, or at least open communication about it. And I think you have done so much in our area and for this field, nationally, if not even internationally, to really bring more awareness and really help couples.
You know, that is our goal at Acupuncture Northwest. I think we've talked in the past with Dr. Shaheen that I wrote Planting the Seeds of Pregnancy with, which, by the way, the second edition is coming out hopefully at the end of this month, in May of 2021, as well as I'm recording the audiobook. So that'll be available for people as well. And it just helps talk people through, you know, what are ways to optimize their fertility. But one thing that we've been just noticing, and I don't know if it's a product of, well, fertility is always inherently stressful, but then we have the pandemic on top of it. And you know, just women are really doubly stressed out, and we are trying to find a way to help that in particular, that piece in particular.
So there's then even a greater emphasis or need to work with a specialist, get the coaching, and let's talk about what that kind of coaching, fertility coaching, looks like.
Well, you know, we are launching this coaching program, and we're really excited about it. It should launch at the end of this month, and it will be, you know, when the pandemic hit and we weren't sure whether we were going to be able to do acupuncture in person, we thought, oh my goodness, how are we going to continue to be able to serve our community? And we thought, I thought, well, let's do some coaching. At least we can be online with them. We can help them with their lifestyle and their nutrition, and what supplements they should be taking, and what does an IVF cycle look like, and how, you know, what are some of the questions, the million questions that we can answer for these couples. And so we put together this program, and then we got busy at the practice, and it's been kind of a slow rollout, and it's been really great, just kind of putting together, you know, the program and getting ready for it to launch, because we're just noticing couples ramping up in their stress levels. And if they can't get to an acupuncturist or they're afraid of needles, they can still get the, you know, I made an acronym for it, although I haven't told anybody. You'll be the first person I tell. I was like, what am I going to do with all these letters? It's snuggled. Let's see if I can remember them. It's like supplements, nutrition, guidance, encouragement, and detox. And I missed one in there. And it's just a way for us to really be able to support them. I had a friend recently going through fertility process, and it was so very stressful. You know, people don't think, oh, you should probably take some time off while you're going through IVF. and things like that, or what is this medication, or how am I going to feel, or is this normal? And they can reach out to their fertility clinics, but their fertility clinics are often really slammed, and and we have more time to sit with them and work through what their anxieties truly are.
And so that certainly feels comforting. And as you mentioned the fertility clinics, though, as you mentioned the book with Dr. Shaheen, what you're doing too is working collaboratively. So any client, any patient really has that added value, added component to really pursuing this path.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to Dr. Shaheen, and she's like, that sounds wonderful. Just let us know when you're up and running. Because people do need extra people on their fertility team. They do need someone who has the time. And we also have referrals. We have referral lists of people that, in addition, if they need a therapist or they need a nutritionist or yoga for fertility, whatever they might need, we have all those resources, and we know all those people because we've been doing this for so long.
So that support is there. It's really so holistic in the sense of just all different aspects of whatever is needed is definitely available, and you can point people in that direction. So people might be thinking, am I a candidate? What would you say? Who really seeks fertility coaching?
Anybody can use fertility coaching. If you're in an area where you can see a fertility specialized acupuncturist, you can do that. And that will be, you'll get most of those same things as long as they're specialized. And so for us, it's the people we can't reach. It's the people who don't want to, or not willing to come in and get acupuncture. Needles can be scary for people. And so it's for any of those people. Or people who, because of COVID, aren't going anywhere, even though we're a very, very COVID-safe clinic. Maybe they don't want to go in anywhere that they don't absolutely have to. And so we can do most everything except for the acupuncture and the Chinese herbs. It's all online. People can schedule as little or as much as they want. They can just go on and schedule if they need to talk to us, or if they want to put together a program while they're going through their IVF. They can do that as well.
As you mentioned, reaching out and getting in touch, let's mention how to do that at this point. We'll mention it again a little later on, but at this point, let's do that.
Well, our website is acupuncturennw.com, and it's got all the information on the fertility coaching. We do pregnancy coaching as well, but we're starting, because that's a specialty of ours as well. That is not as fully fleshed out yet, although we're fully capable of it. We just haven't put all the materials together yet. So we're starting with our fertility coaching. And Cindy Lawrence, she has a doctorate in acupuncture and Chinese medicine, and has written a book on fertility enhancement with in general and Chinese, and with using Chinese medicine as well. And she will be our first coach. So I'm really, really thrilled to have somebody who has 20 years experience who is going to be our first fertility coach.
That is so exciting. All this newness happening. And in the midst of a pandemic, when there's all this issue and stress and concern, we can see this, it really is fitting. I was thinking new birth, and literally it can lead to new birth. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's just such a safe way. It's I kind of think of it like a personal trainer for fertility. It's someone to hold you accountable to your nutritional changes and help encourage you to get you there. And you don't have to leave your house, which, is sometimes a good thing during this pandemic we're in.
There's options. That's the thing that is really wonderful about it.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've written the book, you've been doing the work with pregnancy. So what was the impetus to really develop this next level, the coaching program?
I just, like everyone else, I thought, well, what if we can't practice? What are we going to do? And that's how it was initially born. And then, we got so busy at the office that I shelved it, as I mentioned. And then one of my very, very good acupuncturists at the office told me she was moving to Nashville. And I said, well, I'm going to bring the coaching program back so that I don't lose you, because she's so phenomenal. The patients just love her. And she is also going to be one of our coaches, Natalie Willits. And we just have such a phenomenal team of these coaches. I just wanted some way to hold on to her and some way to serve people that we can't reach because they're not in the Pacific Northwest. And there's not a lot of fertility acupuncturists out in the middle of the country. And so that's a way to reach them as well.
So Natalie is, I think, already then in Nashville, correct?
She is leaving. Her last day is this week. And so she will begin coaching after Cindy gets the program going. So we'll have 2 coaches up and running within a month, I'm guessing.
And so that is what is so wonderful. If we look for, kind of that proverbial silver lining in the midst of something that's rather dismal, is being able to still have really wonderfully qualified people doing the work, and we can do this virtually, and it works. I mean, we've had now basically a year's experience of developing connections this way, and we're finding that in so many cases it's just been a very positive experience.
Yeah, it's so phenomenal. We can take our 20 years of experience and expand it out beyond the Pacific Northwest, where we've always been. And so it's been really wonderful. It's a really wonderful idea that she can move to Nashville and she can still be a part of our organization, a really valuable part of our organization. I'm so grateful for that. And, I've been teaching online. I teach at the local hospital, acupressure couples for labor preparation. And I've been teaching it online for a year, and it's been fabulous. And so, I just know that it works because I've been doing it for the last year. I'm able to connect with people. I'm able to inspire people. I'm able to reach them, and they're able to learn all in a virtual setting without leaving their home. So it's been really, I'm sure a lot of people have realized that it's really doable, and it's really valuable.
And it's so important to realize how in outlying areas where some specialties such as acupuncture and acupressure are not going to be present, very likely, that this is a way to reach people with, as long as they have the virtual connections, being able to get that information and reliably, be moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I really feel that way, that we are able to reach communities that haven't been served before. And I'm wondering, actually we're launching this program, but I'm a facilitator for another group, and people have said that, it's so nice to have these online groups because there's nobody in my area where I live who can support me in this way. And so I'm assuming our coaching program will be the same. We're absolutely going to be able to reach people who otherwise couldn't be reached.
Oh, that is so exciting, to say the very least. And, the potential of it just is so wide open. It's just amazing, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. And we'll be able to also not scale so big that it will still feel like you coming to the office and really getting to know your provider and having them really support you and feel very supported. We don't plan on making it so big. You still have one-on-one time with your provider. Yeah, we're really, really excited about it, actually.
And I can see how this has such great value. I sat in on a virtual appointment that my husband had with a medical provider, and it was just so much more connected, it felt, than being in the office, where somehow the office setting would have distractions. And this one online just seemed so focused and was able to it seemed to even give more time to him for what he needed to deal with. So I think that there's such great value. And in a way, we have a lot, our time is better spent because we're not having to travel to and fro and that sort of thing. It just is so positive.
I completely agree, and I've heard therapists say that as well. That patients, or what I think they call them clients, they're more focused. Just what you said: less distraction, more focus. They get right to it. Less about everything else, and more about exactly what they're working on. And I think that's fabulous. And you're right; you save a lot of time. My life has changed so much since the pandemic started. I don't commute as much. I still come into the office, but I just tried to streamline my life, and this is another way you can streamline your life. If you have a half an hour appointment with one of our coaches, it's going to be 30 minutes. It's not going to be an hour getting there and an hour back. It's just going to be 30 minutes, and then you can go on with whatever else you're doing.
Right. And you still have that very personal connection because you are seeing each other, and maybe it is a bit of a hurdle to get past looking at your computer screen or your phone screen, whatever it is you use. But it's like with anything, as we learn something, we begin to adjust, and it begins to feel very natural.
Yeah. I've gotten really used to it, facilitating groups and teaching these acupressure classes. Yeah, and people are fine, and it's kind of nice to, not that I want to see people in their homes, but you kind of get an idea of who they are that way as well. I mean, you just see a little bit, but in terms of fertility coaching, we'll be able to, we often have people look around their house for toxins, go and look for chemicals, and they could take us on a tour, because sometimes people don't even think, like dryer sheets. No, you should not use, dryer sheets are full of chemicals, and so I think that might be, potentially a way we could help as well, kind of depending on the client and how they want to use us. But in either case, we will be able to be very emotionally supportive from wherever we are.
It feels as though it can be so much more specific. Just using the example you just did, Stephanie, is being able to talk about specific things and really, touch them at that point. You don't have to go home and say, now, what was it? And it's disconnected. It's so immediate. The feedback is really good that way.
Right. We could bring all their supplements up and hold them up, and we could look at them together. When people come into the office so that we can see what brands they bring their supplements in, they're in this huge bag and they've had to carry them in. Well, they could just bring them from the medicine cabinet and show us what they've got. And I think that could be a really useful tool. Just make it so much simpler that all the things we want to talk to them about are sitting in their house, and so are they. So we can really dive in and help them make the changes they need to make.
And so as this online aspect of these trainings and coachings and support go on, it's probably going to be definitely a part of our future. We may still do things in person, but you'll probably, or do you see yourself as doing both?
I will do both for a while. I'm assuming, that as I begin to think about retirement, I may just go to coaching because that might be easier for me. But for now, I will continue to practice. And my an acupuncturist at Acupuncture Northwest can choose to do either or both. So I've got two who will come on just as coaches, Cindy and Natalie, and then we'll see what the other ones want to do. And then it gives them a chance to grow into that as well. I've got, a couple people who are my age who, we've got a good 20 years left, but you're absolutely right. The way of the future is going to be virtual.
And again, as we were saying, it's so great because people in communities that are kind of far on the outskirts of metro areas where this would occur more readily have access to it just immediately without question.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So getting back to our topic of infertility and couples who are struggling with it, what might they expect to have happen? Is it going to be a series of sessions? How does that work?
So we're going to, so the first visit will be an hour long, and it will cover, you'll fill out a really very long intake form before you meet with your coach. And then kind of defining your goals, what you're looking for. Usually it's a healthy baby, but there could be other goals on top of it. What I like to do as an acupuncturist, and it will cross over into coaching, is what are some of our interim goals? Because a baby is 100% or nothing, right? But we can have some interim goals so that you know that you're making progress. So, for example, I have less PMS, or my cycles are regulated, or my blood work gets better. So those could be some interim goals so that you know you're getting somewhere, because it's really hard to hold out for the 100% without knowing you're making any progress. And then we go through all aspects of your life. So we look at your lifestyle. What kind of exercise are you doing? How are you sleeping? What are you eating? What are you drinking? And we talk through all aspects of your life. How are your relationships? How's your work? How stressful is it? And what kind of fertility treatments are you doing? Because our coaches are so experienced, they know the fertility protocols. They know what you're doing. They know all the lingo, and they know, at least here in the Pacific Northwest, we know all the doctors, and so we can really help them through that as well. But people can be trying naturally. And then once we come up with a plan and we look at we've looked at everything, we've come up with a plan, then we can decide how we want to move forward. So they can either choose to meet with us weekly as they're kind of implementing the plan, so they can reach back and get feedback and get encouragement and have somebody holding them accountable if they're doing more long-term changes. Like they want to take 6 months to get as healthy as possible. The reason you want to get as healthy as possible, both the male, if there's a male involved, and there isn't always these days, and that's wonderful. We're so LGBTQ plus friendly here. We want both partners to be as healthy as possible at the time of conception for ease of conception, so to increase your chances by increasing your egg quality as best we can, and getting you as healthy as possible for epigenetic reasons. So what genes get turned on and off, which will factor into how healthy the baby is. It's not a perfect science, but there is good scientific evidence. We're very scientific evidence-based here at Acupuncture Northwest. My book has, I think, 30 pages of citations. And we take all that scientific evidence and try to make a good plan for you. So the healthier you are, the healthier your baby should be for epigenetic reasons. So we want to get you as healthy as possible for two reasons: to increase your chances of conception and for the baby's health. And so we do all of that, and then you can choose how much you need. So if you're going through naturally, as I said, you might need somebody to hold you accountable. If you're going through IVF, you might need 2 15-minute appointments in a week because you're on stim meds and things are happening and you don't know. You have questions, and so you just can quickly make an appointment and meet with your coach. They should be available. Our goal is to have availability 5 days a week. And so people can make an appointment at the last minute if they just have a question that they really need answered. So there's two kind of paths that we're envisioning for the fertility coaching.
And I can see here where, again, having the virtual meetings is so much easier. I imagine really prior to a year ago, there weren't virtual meetings going on. It might be a phone call or you had to come to the office.
Yeah, for us, absolutely. I do think that there, of course, were people doing it prior, but it has been an absolute explosion in the last year. And for us, there was no availability until the pandemic hit. And then we just had to rethink everything. And that's the beauty of, having your own business is you can rethink things for what the patients needed and how we can serve our community, even though we have less face-to-face encounters.
There's a parallel going on here, the beauty of what you have created by being able to expand the coaching online, but showing the versatility of, taking something that was really just thrust upon us, the pandemic, and making something positive out of it. I think that there's just such, just simply beauty in that is making the best of dire situations.
That's absolutely right. And I feel like one term I use is, COVID kind of broke everything. And it really is allowing us, some people are in so much of a harder situation, and I completely, I recognize that. But for me personally in this practice, it allowed us to restructure. And it would have been harder to do had it not been broken from the outside. And we had to look at the practice in a different way. And we did. And this is what is coming up from it. And I think it's going to be wonderful to expand our reach and to more people around the country. And, we'll see if it goes beyond that. But we'll always, at least for now, we will absolutely keep our practice in person, so safe here. But it's such a wonderful option for people to just see us online, especially if they hate needles.
Yes. But as one who comes to your office for acupuncture, needles are not an issue. They're very gentle. You're very gentle. I think all the practitioners are very gentle with the needles. So acupuncture is definitely just an important and wonderful treatment. So there's a plug for that.
Oh, yes, thank you. It is. But, some people can't even get to that because they're so afraid. And I think I don't meet them because they don't come to the office. But I know when I talk to Dr. Shaheen, she's like, yeah, we have a whole portion of our population who won't do it. And so she was really thrilled when I told her, we're going to start this coaching program. She's like, great, because that will meet the needs of the rest of the population who don't want to come in for acupuncture.
Yes, definitely an important point. Well, this has been so important and informative. So let's once again give your website and a way for people to get more information and to reach out to you, Stephanie.
Yes, so we are acupuncturenw.com, and there's information on our acupuncture practice and the acupressure classes, but also the fertility coaching. So it'll be under, I think it's under services, and it just talks you through more of what we do, although we did go through it pretty detailed here today. But you can also sign up for a free 15-minute consultation if you want to get more information about it. And I think, we offer that for our acupuncture patients as well. And that is so great for people because they can get an idea if they've never had acupuncture or they've never done fertility coaching. They can really talk to their provider, get an idea about what it's going to be like, and whether they click with that coach, because we will have several, although they're both so fabulous, I can't imagine someone not. But, people have different personalities and different needs. And so I think that's a great thing about a group practice. You can kind of go around until you find the provider that works for you.
Absolutely. Well, you're a wonderful provider. That's my not just bias, it's my strong opinion.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Stephanie Gianarelli, it's been so great to have you with us this morning to really bring these important insights and just the awareness of what's available and how we can go about it. So many thanks to you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And thank you for having it right at the beginning of National Infertility Awareness Week. Well done.
Terrific. That brings us to the end of a very full hour of Inspirational Women with Stephanie Gianarelli and Sunday Morning Magazine with Anna Gottlieb from Cancer Pathways. I'm Kate Daniels, your host, and I greatly appreciate your sharing this hour with me and these special guests. For details, you might have missed or information you'd like to know, please just send me an email, kated@warm1069.com, and I will get right back to you. Also, if you'd like to listen again or share these important stories with your family and friends, find the podcast on our Warm 1069 webpage. Just click on the podcast tab, then either of the show names, and then look for the guest names. I now wish you and your family a day of naming the gifts that have come to us through this pandemic time. Have a week the same, and then please plan to join me again next weekend for another hour of Sunday Morning Magazine and Inspirational Women on Warm 1069. Good morning.